8 founders, 1 bracket, and $25,000 on the line. Welcome to Season 2 of Tweener Madness. We've scouted the best startups across North Carolina, and now it's win or go home. No fluff, no safety nets, just raw pitches. And for the judges who hold the checkbook, who has the scale, who has the grit, and who's walking away with the investment? Now, here's your host, general partner of the NC Tweener Fund, Scott Wingo.
We are here recording this on March 18th live at 2 p.m. And this is the Tweener Madness 2026 selection show. Let's jump right in. So first of all, you may realize our branding for Tweener Madness is a little bit elevated this year, and this reflects our exciting new relationship with NC Idea. A brief history of how we get here. So 2015 started the Triangle Tweener list as a way to focus on our rising stars in the Triangle. That list started with 50 companies and now has well over 300 just for the Triangle region. 2022, we launched the Tweener Fund, which is a index private company fund that invests in companies in the Triangle that are on the list. So it's kind of like the Tweener list is the S&P 500 and the Tweener Fund is Vanguard, for example. Then based on feedback from founders, we heard they want a lot more content and understanding what is happening locally versus a lot of the content available nationally. So we launched a newsletter called the Tweener Times, a podcast called Tweener Talks, and then a hub where everyone can kind of come and learn about all the resources available for the startup community called the Tweener Community Hub. Then last year, around this time, we launched our first Tweener Madness, and it was very well received. We've heard from literally hundreds, if not thousands, of founders and folks in the ecosystem that found it very, very helpful to watch other people pitch, but also to see the judges deliberate. This is not in a cheesy Shark Tank kind of a way, but in a real world kind of simulating what would happen if you went to a pitch with early stage angel investor types or earlier stage funds. And that we kept hearing from founders, hearing how people receive the pitches as helpful as seeing other people pitch. So we knew we had to do this again, and we really wanted to take it to the next level. Helping us with that, earlier this year, we announced that we are partnering on the Tweener Fund with NC Idea. A lot of people in North Carolina know NC Idea. They are famous for giving out their entrepreneurial founder grants. They have a seed program and then the core grant program where you can receive non-dilutive equity of 25 or 50K. Famously, Robbie, one of the GPs here, and I think it was 2007 or 9 or something like that, received one of these for one of his first companies. So this, we've long time been fans of NC Idea and are really excited to have them supporting the Tweener Fund in a material way. As part of that announcement, they announced they are investing $4 million into the Tweener Fund, which we really appreciate their show of strong support for what we're doing. And as part of that, it enabled us to go statewide. So the first thing we did was take the fund statewide. So we are now the North Carolina Tweener Fund. Now we are taking Tweener Madness statewide as well. So excited to expand what we're doing here to a wider set of participants and help even more founders understand how to pitch as well as possible, how to deal with judge feedback, and how to iterate your pitch over time. Another thing you'll see is if you watch this kind of from the beginning to the end, you're going to see several of the companies pitch again, and you'll see their pitch change as they've received feedback from the judges, and you can see how they're changing things going forward. I always think that's interesting to see how founders are changing their pitch. None of this would be possible if it weren't for our awesome sponsors. First, the most awesomest sponsor we have for this is our friends at Walk West. The Tweener Talks podcast wouldn't exist if it wasn't for our friends at Earfluence, which was actually acquired about a year ago now, a little over a year ago, by Walk West. And they're a great partner for us, and they help produce the content that you see. So it is a Herculean effort to put this together, and we could not do it without our friends at Walk West. Also, Raleigh Founded, where I am located today at the North Street location, is where we will be filming the live parts of this program, and they have contributed that space, which we really appreciate. Also, previously mentioned NC Idea, we really appreciate the foundation and their support of everything we're doing. And then over on the Tweener side, we have 5 sponsors that we really want to highlight that have been very supportive. The Tweener Times is both reader and sponsor supported. We would not be able to do that without the generous sponsorship of these 5 folks. This is Ballantine. They're a wealth management firm that really focuses on founders and helps you protect the hopefully wealth that you're going to build as you do this founder journey. Robinson Bradshaw is one of the top startup legal firms here in town. Eisner Amper is one of the top. They do a variety of things. They can help with accounting, bookkeeping, tax, audits, all those types of things. Automated Consulting Group helps mid-market companies really understand how to adopt AI to accelerate their business. And Bank of America. They have a startup group that is very active here in the Triangle. They're a great group of folks that want to help you with startup banking and connect to the millions of resources inside of B of A. So thanks to our sponsors for this. This year, we got a lot of great feedback last year of having judges that are actual investors in our community, and we've replicated that again. Robbie and I, so I won't go through those. But joining us from Idea Fund Partners is Zakia Alta Lee Hill. She has a new Substack you should check out called Z the VC, and I think it's notes from Z the VC. So if you Google that, you will find her. Greg Boone is not only the CEO of Sponsor Walk West, but he is an entrepreneur himself. So he has a comp sci degree. He was born and raised in Duke. So he is, in Durham. He's local to the core, and he is 100% supportive of our region. And he's been a long-term investor in the Tweener Fund, and really doubling down with everything he's doing at Walk West and bringing them to the next level. One of the newest investors in town is Carly Connell, and she has joined Bull City Ventures, our friends there, as one of their new folks. So it's exciting to see her. She was previously at Deloitte, where she helped startups with their audit. They have a startup program for you get one of the big firms to do an audit for smaller companies, and she managed that program. Then we have 2 OGs. We have Jan Davis and Robbie Hardy. They are very, very active in the startup community here. Jan was very early in Carolina Angel Network, Triangle Angel Partners, and then she is one of the co-founders of RTP Angels. Robbie Hardy, I've done very long form podcasts with both of these ladies, and you should watch them. It's really fascinating to hear their backgrounds. Robbie had the Atlantis group, which I was one. That was the first time I was an LP in something, and that was fun. And then she was in TIG back in the old days of that was like the earliest angel group, if that I recall at least. And then she's the founder of Excel, which is a female-based investing mechanism that helps other females. Another person that we spend a lot of time with here in the Tweener Fund, because we are co-invested in, I think, almost every company, is Jen Sumi. She is the general partner at Primordial, which is part of Joe Colopy's family of offerings. So Joe has Colopy Ventures, Jurassic Ventures, which is a mid-market private equity firm, Grepbeat, which is an awesome newsletter that everyone should check out. And it's more newsy than what we're doing at Tweener Times. So we think those are very different. We're kind of telling founder stories, and they're telling more what's going on in the news. So there's room for both of those. And then Primordial, not unlike Tweener Fund, writes lots of smaller checks across the state. And they go a little bit earlier than we do. So we're really kind of squarely in what we call that tweener zone, and they will typically go into the pre-tweener zone. And a face that's probably new to you that will be helping us on the championship is Cameron Walker. I'm going to let Cameron introduce himself, but if you name a high-tech company or an industry, Cameron Walker has worked there. He's got the most amazing background you'll ever find. I met him through Channel Advisor. He was at VF Corp as a customer and got to know him. And I literally learn like 30 things every time I talk to Cameron. So I think you'll enjoy meeting him when he is a judge. Here's the timeline for how this is going to roll out. So not unlike another competitive bracket type thing, this is obviously inspired by March Madness. We have we go due to the complexity of starting with 16 companies. We decided this year to start with 8 to help shorten the cycle here. And that was another feedback. We're like, this is kind of long. Could you make it shorter? So we've tried to make it shorter and more bite sized for you. And also to go statewide, we figured last year we did everything in a studio physically, which was fun, and we got to spend a lot of time with the founders. But founders' time is super valuable. And one of the things we heard from the founders, and then also going statewide, is we probably need to do this virtual. So the exceptional 8 is where we have already narrowed it down to 8 companies, which will be revealed here in a second. And then we have 4 rounds, which further narrows it down to our fabulous 4. And then from there, we have 2 rounds, which gets us to our championship, and that will be in person. So you can see the dates here. So basically starting on the 31st, we will have at least 2 a week episodes drop, sometimes more, where you will be able to watch this unfold. These are going to be a good bit shorter. I think they're going to be 30 minutes. Looking at producer Becca, I think they'll come in around 30 minutes or so. That's kind of our goal. We'll see if we landed the plane on that, so that you can keep up with this, and it'll also be audio and video, just like we typically do, so you can kind of see what's going on. So on 4/16, we will crown the winner of the 2026 North Carolina Tweener Madness. So that will be exciting. We'll see who wins in April. And the other thing I'll say is, just like last year, the winner will receive a $25,000 investment from Tweener Fund. So the selection criteria is a bit broader than Tweener, because we've invested in so many Tweeners. We don't want to have companies we've invested in, because that would be obviously biased. So we have not invested in any of these companies that have applied. And most of them are brand new to us. We had never really met them before. So that was, this was a really good exercise to meet a large set of new companies we've never met. And so we put out the call, and the location criteria is broader. You can be anywhere in North Carolina, which is a much bigger area. And here we've kind of simplified the state into the following regions. We've got the mountain region kind of out west. The bigger cities there where there's startup activity are Boone and Nashville. The Triad, which is very active. Then we've got Charlotte kind of there in the middle. And then the Triangle region, the emerging region where we're seeing a lot of stuff happen, kind of Pinehurst, Fayetteville, kind of like in the south kind of part of the state. And then the coastal region where there's a lot of activity as well. Category and industry, the way we look at this is, does this company have intellectual property of some kind? So occasionally we get service businesses. So there's a lot of people that are running unique childcare models. They want to franchise businesses, kind of like what I would call a Main Street type business, or they have a retail establishment. Those, and I want to be clear, they're entrepreneurs. We have a big tent for what an entrepreneur is, but at the end of the day, they need to be venture investable. And that usually means you have some intellectual property that is very unique to what you do. It doesn't have to be patented per se, but it gives you a bit of a competitive moat that tends to make it venture scale. So that's part of it. We do exclude biotech companies, and our definition of that is, if you have FDA approval as part of your business model, then we do not have those in the program. The submission process was pretty robust. You had to submit a pitch video. So that was kind of new this year. So that was fun. And it gave the founders a lot more time to kind of refine the pitch. And there's nothing more humbling than kind of trying to record a 5-minute pitch video and then going and watching again and working on iterating through that. This is where AI tools can be really helpful. You can actually have them judge it for you, which is a pretty neat thing that we didn't really have the capability for that last year. So a lot of folks, I believe, did that. And we were blown away. So that was kind of the criteria. And progress was basically, you can be an idea, you can be as big as you want. If you're a tweener, if we've invested in you, you're excluded. So most of the companies are relatively what I would call pre-seed. So there's a lot of people that have built products and need the extra dollars to launch. There's people that are selling actively, but I would say no one that submitted is really kind of doing more than maybe $100K a year. So these are very nascent businesses in that pre-seed category, still trying to figure out product market fit. The results, we received over 50 applications, and you guys made it really, really hard this year to kind of figure out who the exceptional 8 are. But we went through these rigorously, and we looked at it. A couple things just to be aware of, kind of founder to founder. The hardest businesses are consumer. So, and consumer businesses tend not to get funded in the North Carolina region because it is so hard to build that type of a business. So this year we had 3 beverage companies. There's a lot of CPG activity going on, which is great, but it kind of runs into that. Is there intellectual property there? Now, sure, there's a formula for whatever the beverage is and a brand and that type of thing, but it's really just not in our wheelhouse as early stage investors. We can't. It's such an expensive proposition. It's kind of like the FDA thing where you need someone backing you if you're going to do a beverage company that can invest $5, $10, $50 million. And that's not what our little fund is. So unfortunately, it is kind of harder for beverage companies to make the cut here. And then a lot of consumer things around very, very niche areas, like certain things for certain types of people's hair needs, beauty needs, these types of things, which again is consumer, and it tends to be kind of a small addressable market, which is going to make it a struggle to get funded. So there is a preference to B2B items, which we got plenty of. We had to turn away a lot of those as well. I would say all the regions of the state were really well represented, so we were really pleased by that. We got a number of, there was a Fayetteville or somewhere around there, Lumberton or something, a lot from the coast, a lot from the mountains, a lot of really great companies out that way, and a lot from the Triad in Charlotte. So you'll see as we go through that this wasn't really a criteria. Location isn't a criteria, other than if you're outside of North Carolina, you're not in the program. But we ended up with a really good mix across the state, which I think is kind of validates this idea we want to go statewide. Okay, and now the moment you've been waiting for, introducing for the first time ever your North Carolina Tweener Madness Exceptional 8 contestants. Contestant number 1 is Utilist. The founder is John Arman, and they are based here in the Triangle region, and they are a power tech company. So you can kind of see the word utility in there. I won't spoil it what Utilist does. You're going to have to watch the first episode to watch them battle it out in the first round of Tweener Madness. And number 2 is Benedoc. These are 2 folks that have really deep experience in the health tech industry, Brian Davis and Logan Strokas, and they are here in the Durham area. So another Triangle company as our second company. Again, I'm not going to go into detail of what the companies do because that's kind of what the pitch is all about. Number 3, hailing from Charlotte, North Carolina, Parker Garrison. Parker has deep cybersecurity experiences and has started Iguana Cyber to fill a hole he sees in the market. And it was great to learn about this one, and you will learn more about it as well. Number 4, we're about halfway through, is HAM. I'm not even going to tell you what that stands for, so you're going to have to go figure that one out. Lou Chroma he was a infrastructure engineer at Twitter. He is a deep AI engineering talent and is looking at starting a company. And we're going to put that one in the AI tech, which is really exciting. That's an exciting area here. And we have a lot of this going on in North Carolina. We don't have the big model companies, but there, if you think about the layers of AI, there's chips and models. We don't get involved in those. But the application layer, the developer layer, we have a lot of really big innovation going on in these other layers that do exist around that, the Gen AI LLM stack. All right. And now company number 5, Druid Agriculture. This is founded by Julian Walker. He hails from Charlotte, North Carolina. And this one is squarely in the agricultural technology, or what we call ag tech space. Really enjoyed meeting Julian, learning more about what he is building at Druid. And I think you're going to enjoy learning about that one too. And now our number 6 out of the exceptional 8 is Huvia Technologies. This is interesting. This is a son-mother combination, so a family effort. They're from Kernersville, North Carolina, and this one is in the ed tech space, Huvia Technologies. And Maddox is the youngest CTO I think I've ever run across, except maybe Judd Bowman, I think, was earlier. Number 7, hailing from Asheville, North Carolina out west, Anthony Hernandez with Marla Amplification. This is a consumer one, so that we do have 2 consumer offerings here, and Huvia is kind of splits the middle there. And this is the first of our consumer offerings. And you can kind of guess this is amplifiers. So Anthony has a really great personality. You're going to enjoy watching the pitch. And who knew we had this in Asheville, North Carolina? This one is in what I would call music tech. I know we have power tech there, but it's more like consumer music tech. And last but not least, I hit the wrong arrow, is Build a Bookie. Vincent Durham is very passionate about having the fun of prediction markets minus the gambling aspect. So that is the intersection where Build a Bookie lives. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's kind of in the sports tech space, or it's not really gambling tech because it's kind of like non-gambling gambling tech. So we're going to call this one sports tech. So those are your exceptional 8 candidates. Now let's see who these competitors are going to go up against and what our bracket looks like. Over on the left side of the bracket, we have Utilist, and they will be up in round 1 against Beneduct. Then in round 2, we have pitted Iguana Cyber versus Ham. Over on the right side of the bracket, in round 3, Druid Agriculture versus Huvia Technologies. And then our last round is the consumer round, where we have Marla versus Build-A-Bookie. The winners of these will progress to the Fabulous 4, and then the winners of those 2 matches will then progress to our championship match. I want to wish all the contestants the best of luck. Get your pitches ready, shine up your pitching skills, and get ready to face our judge panel as you compete. Again, those first 4 rounds are coming soon. So March 31st, we will debut round 1, followed by April 2nd, round 2, April 7th, round 3, and April 8th, round 4. From there, you will know the Fabulous 4, and you saw earlier the schedule for that. Thanks for joining us today. This is going to be a fun competition. At the time we're recording this, we've already seen all the pitches, and you're in for an amazing treat. The amount of talent, founder talent we have here in North Carolina, these are mostly first-time founders. I think you're going to be really impressed with the pitches that we have here from this group. And I've already learned a ton from the process up to this far. Thanks again to our sponsors. Thanks for everyone that applied and didn't make it. Unfortunately, only 8 moved forward. There were 42 companies we had to send the news to. That doesn't mean you're not great founders. We're doing this to really try to get a really good selection of companies we think will be interesting for the overall picture. everyone's an awesome entrepreneur, and look forward to seeing how this plays out. And thanks for progressing with us, and enjoy the shows coming up soon.